Good morning, everyone. Tim from Timber Vision's back here again. Today we're gonna get things set up to do a little milling with the chainsaw. So it's been frigidly cold lately, and today we're actually in the 20s. Supposed to get up into the 40s, and got to get things ready to go here. So we got the G660, and I have my 36-inch Forester bar. So with the 36-inch bar doing the chainsaw milling, basically you have to subtract about 6 inches from the bar length to the width of what you'll be able to mill. So in other words, around 30 inches diameter is what I'll be able to mill with this once it's put into the Grandberg chainsaw mill. So you can kind of see here like a clamp mark, and here's a clamp mark. That's where I've clamped this in the past into Grandberg, and so it's the space in between those two that you're able to mill. That's the diameter of the log. I hope that makes sense. It'll make more sense once I get the saw into the mill. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this bar and chain put on. Along with that, the chain is a 10 degree instead of like 25, 30 degree like you normally use for cutting firewood or felling trees or whatever. In the lower angle helps keep the edge longer, and it doesn't take quite as big of bites as you're cutting. So both of those are desirable for doing the milling. So most milling chains have a 10 degree rather than 25, 30. And when I'm saying that 10 degree, I'm talking about the angle of the tooth when you sharpen it. So go ahead and tighten this up just a little bit before I put my cover on. With such a long bar, you kind of want to run it a little bit tighter than you normally would. You don't want to get carried away, but you definitely want it longer than you would with a short bar, or tighter than you want it to be with a short bar. Get it snugged up a little bit, get my cover put on. Even though it's warmed up a little bit, all metal is still very cold. So my fingertips are numb, to say the least. But I'm trying to get this done before it gets really nice out, because when it gets nice out, I want to be milling. So I got the cover on there, and I'm gonna tighten up this chain a little bit more. Get in there. I like to go right up to the edge here so I can do longer. My scrunch won't hit the tailgate that way, or table, whatever I'm working on off of. Alright, that seems pretty tight, but I'm going to go a little bit further. Okay. Then we'll tighten these bad boys down. I'm sure a lot of you know how to do this already. If you're chainsaw guys, you know how to do this already, but just kind of wanted to include it. So I take my brake off and I just run it a little bit. Sometimes I'll do that and then it's like, oh crap, it's loose yet. So stick with me, I'll get the chainsaw mill here. So this is the Grandberg Mark IV chainsaw mill. The way I set it up, power head to the left side. You want it set up like this. I've seen guys have this flipped around, and that is incorrect. You want the skis here to kind of help you as you maneuver the edge of the wood. So on the sides. So basically it slides on like this. Like so. And then there's bolts here and here that clamp this to the bar. And of course you want this centered in here. Let me bring you in a little closer so you can see what I'm talking about here. So you can see right here's, and there's one of these on the other side as well, and that's what clamps against the bar. So you want that centered. You don't want to be close to the edge where you're clamping down on the groove of your chainsaw bar. You don't want that. So these just take a 1/2 inch socket or wrench, which I keep one of these in here all the time. Kind of eyeball this one over here, make sure we're somewhat centered, and then centered here, and then do a little tightening down on this one. Don't tighten it all the way. Kind of want to make it even, if you follow what I'm saying. This is what keeps your bar in place while you're milling. So you kind of want to torque it down pretty good. You don't want to go crazy, but you want it to be snug. And I'll do the same over here. It's not crazy hard to get these set up. It's, you know, there's some things you want to take into account or make sure you've covered when you're putting it on, like I've talked about, as far as centering and all of that. So when we get into the milling part, I'll talk about how you get a flat board out of a round log. But basically you need something for this rail to ride on in your initial cut. And what I use is a product called Unistrut. And I have a piece of it right here. I'll show it to you quick. And you can buy these at your home centers, but it's very rigid this direction. They use this to hang conduit or whatever, but if you look at the end profile there, it's like a big U, right? And it curls over, so it's very rigid this direction. It will flex side to side a little bit when you're milling, which I do have sometimes, but And I only use this for the first cut. Then after that I have a flat surface on the log in which for this to ride on for the cuts afterwards. So get that set back here for now. So yeah, this is it's a lot of weight, you know. It's not light. It's a heavy saw, and then you're putting a big bar and this contraption on it. So they are portable. Like you can put it in your truck like I do, or in a side-by-side or what have you, and go to areas, mill right there, and bring your boards back with you, rather than haul a mill out there and then load it onto the mill. That's the main positive to these, because there's a lot more waste. They're not as fast. Your cuts won't be quite as nice as with a bandsaw mill, but they're portable and less expensive. I would love to have a bandsaw mill, and God willing someday I will, but this is what I have right now to work with, and this is what I'm going to use. So I think that covers the chainsaw mill, putting it on and stuff pretty good. And when we come back, we'll be setting up to mill some wood. So stick with us.